The pandemic is long over, and so are the job opportunities from the tech and the startup world, not just in India, but around the world. And when we are talking about the Indian context, over 16,000 employees were laid off by 100 startups in just 2023. Companies like Paytm, they cut their workforce by 1,000 employees. On the other hand, Byju's, which was once one of the leading EdTech startups in India, laid off about 2,500 employees. On the other hand, JioMart sacked about 1,000 employees. And the list goes on and on and on. Now, before we move forward, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you do not miss our upcoming videos. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not just happening in India, this is happening globally. Over 240,000 jobs were cut in 2023 alone. This includes big tech companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, or Meta as we call. Not every company has the same reason of layoffs, but regardless of the reasons, they did lay off their workforce. But let us understand, why did tech companies lay off so many employees, not just in India, but globally as a whole? There are multiple reasons for the same. The very first reason is overhiring. Now, during the pandemic, every major startup and tech company, they overhired. Now, what does that mean? Overhiring simply means that the company is employing more people for the amount of work that could be done by lesser number of people employed at the same position. And a major reason for overhiring at that point of time during the pandemic was that many of these tech startups, they were receiving a lot of funding at that point of time. Investments and funds were flowing like water, and hence they had a lot of cash to burn. Not only that, but at that point of time, businesses, particularly in the tech sector, they were booming. The stock market around the world was at an all-time high, regardless of a pandemic. Not only that, but people were stuck inside their homes on their online screens. People were working on their laptops, their phones, and we were 24/7 stuck on our phones and dependent on technology. And hence, there was an increasing demand for tech companies at that point of time. And to meet that demand, these companies resorted to overhiring people at that point of time. And not only was the demand for these tech companies growing, but so were their valuations. Now, many of these companies, they inflated their valuation. They were overvalued. And at this point of time, they are realizing their current values. The current market conditions are actually showing the demand for tech companies at this point of time, and specifically startups. Now that the pandemic is over and all the funding is drying up, these companies, specifically startups, they're resorting to cutting down their workforce in order to cut down their expenses. And an important point here to note is that many of the startups that have gone the VC route, that have taken funding from VCs and investors, venture capitalists and investors, they need to make a positive return, because anyone who invests in a company wants a positive return on their investment. They want profits. It is also important to note that many of these startups take years and even decades to generate profits. And an example of the same is Uber. Now, Uber was launched in 2007 and it only generated profits for the very first time in 2023. Uber took 16 long years to generate profits. And in the Indian context, let us talk about our own company, Paytm. Paytm was launched in August 2010. Even at this point, it has merely earned any profits. And I'm talking about 2023. So many of these startups, when even they become larger companies per se, in terms of their operational years, they are still not generating profits. So it takes a lot of time for these companies to generate profits, specifically if they're operating at a much larger base. But anyone who is investing in a company is investing in the company, one, because they believe in the product or service that they're investing in, and hence they're investing their money. And second, they want profits. They want positive returns or profitable returns on their investments. So these are two of the major reasons for any investment decision that is made. Another important reason for layoffs is the evolution of AI. ChatGPT created a sense of urgency amongst every major tech company around the world to get into the AI game, to get into artificial intelligence race. So much so that every major company from Google to Nvidia to Amazon, they all got into the AI race. They all want at this point to be the pioneers in this particular space. Everyone wants to be a leader, and hence they are dedicating their resources, their money, their investments, their time into developing the best of the best AI technology for people to use and to make profits. And hence, as many of these companies get down on this AI track, they are going to lay off their employees. And many of these companies have actually done so. Many of these companies, they are profitable. They are making billions and billions of dollars. Specifically, companies like Google, Amazon, and even Meta. They are profitable companies. They are some of the largest companies on the planet, and yet they're cutting down their workforce. So it is not because of profitability issues. It isn't because they are not able to make revenues. It is simply because the advancement in AI has provided them with an information that AI could do much better than many of the employees that they're currently employing. And hence, if AI can do the work of 10 people, then why is there a need to hire 10 people for the same role, which can be done by AI, and that too at a much lesser cost? So with the evolution of AI, more and more people are going to lose their jobs. On the contrary, companies like Netflix are paying as much as $900,000 for an AI product manager role. So there are two takeaways. One, AI is going to replace traditional job roles that can be done with ease by this evolving technology. And on the other hand, everyone who learns AI, everyone who understands how AI works is going to make money, is going to tap into every beneficial opportunity that comes their way. So AI could either cost your job or it could benefit you in a huge way. Another reason that I want to talk about, this is related to the first reason that we talked about, which was overhiring. Now this particular reason is these companies are laying off employees that are underperforming or employees that are no longer suitable for the role that they were hired for. And a major reason for that is that the situations are completely different for these companies. There was a market boom in 2020 when the pandemic was prevalent, and not only that, but in terms of technological advancements in 2020 we were talking about the metaverse, we were talking about other things. Many of these companies, they were interested in creating their own metaverse, they were interested in developing blockchains, and at this point they're developing artificial intelligence, they're interested in developing machine learning. So the landscape has changed. Companies are interested in different things in these two different situations, and hence many of the employees that were hired for a particular role in 2020, they are no longer suitable for the same role, because the company is no longer working on that particular project, the company is not shifting that particular employee to a different role. And this is specifically true for startups. Many of these startups, they failed because they were not able to capitalize on the opportunities or create a long-term benefit. And another major reason that I want to talk about here is recession. Many companies around the world and many economists around the world, they're expecting a recession in 2024, and which is why they do not want to depend on the tech sector per se, because the tech sector is a highly volatile sector. The tech sector or the startup world is relatively new, and hence investors, they do not want to put their money into investments that are highly risky because they are highly unpredictable. Anything can happen in a startup world. There's a relatively lesser chance of risk in a blue chip company that has existed for years and years or decades. Investors will put out their money if they think that a recession is coming and they want to move from highly risky assets or highly risky investments to less risky investments, to investments that will survive recession. These were the major reasons as to why we saw a huge tech layoff and startups layoff in 2023. But what are the lessons that we can learn from this layoff? Number one, job security is a myth. You cannot depend on one job. You cannot be like, I've gotten this job and I will forever keep it, because you can be replaced at any given point in time. And two, we are living in times wherein technology is advancing at a pace that has never been experienced before. So if you had the skills for a particular job role, that may not be needed 6 months down the line. So you have to continuously keep on upgrading yourself. You have to be on your toes. You have to look out for jobs that are challenging so that you do not fall behind. It is survival of the fittest, specifically when you're in the tech space. And secondly, many of the employees that were paid lakhs and lakhs worth of salaries per year, they went into the tech space, they went into the startup space thinking that they're going to get paid handsomely, and which they did. These job roles, they provided them with a handsome package, but that was only for a specific amount of time. If you're consistently improving, if you're continuously putting in the work, then no one can take that job from you. But if the company at any given point of time thinks that you're no longer needed because you're no longer providing the value, they will sack you. So you have to understand that the companies operate from a business point of view. Companies are looking for employees that could generate them profits. They're going to lay off anyone else who is not working on the same lines as they want them to. So if you want to stay in the game, if you want to climb up the ladders of the corporate world, of the tech world, you have to be on your toes. You have to continuously evolve, and not in 2 to 5 years of time frame. You have to keep on evolving in every 6 months to 12 months, because this is the kind of competitive world we're living in right now. So what do you think about the job market, specifically the tech sector? Do you think that we are going to witness many more layoffs in the coming year, and are we going to experience a recession in 2024? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video valuable, please share it with your friends and family, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this video and have a great day.